wreck, you know?
Yeah. I got all of that, and then I hit a button and it saved it, but now we're on a second video, just so you know.
Okay.
Like I said, as a baby, I spent a lot of time torturing him with like just touching him everywhere, grabbing him places that most people don't think of grabbing their horses.
It's such a good deal, though. I mean, it really is. And the only issue you might have with it is where he just sometimes doesn't understand boundaries versus when he's being welcome somewhere.
Yeah.
But even that, I mean, that's not a big deal. And the nice thing about it now is that you have a horse that, you know, he just dealt with all that really, really well. You know, he didn't get upset, didn't get distraught, you know, he just kind of was like, well, this is weird, but it's never been bad before. So, those are all really good things. So what we're going to start with is pretty much exactly what I've been talking about. We're going to start with little itty-bitty circles.
Okay.
And build up a little bit. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. I mean, if he starts acting really bothered every time we switch eyes, then we're going to go for a really short, like, I am almost pretty much not even riding him. I'm just kind of sitting on him, and he just pulls around a couple times. But if he keeps doing well, we'll just, you know, we'll let him call the shots. A really good deal is to wiggle a lot. You don't want to be really quiet about the first couple times you're in the saddle. You can get more quiet as time goes on, but you really want to wiggle around and let them know that you really are up here and you're going to waller on their back and it's okay. You want to find a good balance too. That's a good deal, licking and chewing. Of letting them pause and think and keeping their feet moving. I'm going to pet him as much as I can. See where he's backing up? That's not really what you want a lot of on that first ride. A lot of people do that because the horse won't buck when they're backing up, or at least they usually won't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, it really kind of does some damage in the long run because you never really teach them to go forward with your weight. And it's almost kind of a way of them avoiding things. So now I'm going to try to start working them up into some slightly bigger circles. And it's a really good deal that I can be using both legs even though his head is only pulled in one direction. Just because it'll keep him a little bit better balanced and keep it honest that I am on both sides. It's not going to compensate for the visual fact that he's only dealing with me on one eye, but it's a start. That's a big deal right there. See, he chose to switch eyes. He didn't get bothered. That's a good deal for me. I'll take that. He offers me something, you take it. Especially on the first ride. You know, he doesn't have any confidence about this. That doesn't mean that he's boogering and scared and terrified, but he's not confident. He doesn't know what this game is about. So anytime he offers me something, and I can set him up to be a winner, and for that to be the right answer, I'm going to do it. Because I want him to think he's got all the answers, and he's just super smart. And I want him to have the confidence that anytime I ask him to do something down the line, it's something he can do. He's never not been able to do it. So that took a lot less convincing. He was pretty sure that he could do that. A lot more confidence, and that's a good deal. switch eyes. Yeah, but we lost our movement. That's okay. See, right in here, see where he keeps wanting to straighten out?
Mm-hmm.
That's not ideal. He's handling it okay, so I'm not, you know, trying to change it yet, but a lot of times that's where they're going to get lost. And he's doing okay, so I'm kind of letting it happen. I'm not trying really hard to redirect that, because we're going to have to go straight someday. But, so you know what I'm looking for, so that you can see it when you're looking for it. These are the little things I'm looking for. I'd rather he be committed to an eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when you get straight on, sometimes that's where it's really, really scary. And when they're straight on, you don't have their head anymore, so you can't talk them out of something if they don't want to be talked out of it. See right there? He wanted to go and talk to his buddies. And rather than getting into a pulling match on his face, which I couldn't win if I wanted to, I used my leg and I tipped his mind and made him think about this way, and then used the rein as reinforcement. A lot of people use the rein as the, you know, first thing that they do. And that typically is what turns out a really heavy horse. But also, you get a horse that never uses his brain when you're riding him. You make a robot. And for him, if I can, you know, kick this rib cage over here, and he looks this way, and then I just follow up with this rein and say, yes, that's the way I wanted you to go. And he's like, oh, okay. You know, we were already on the same page when I asked him to do something. So, again, he's a winner. I'll do the same thing. See, he kind of wants to use that flag as an excuse. And the first time we came over it, I didn't make a fuss about it because I didn't know if he was going to try to be like, oh, I'm so scared of that flag and do something with it. But instead, he just kind of got smart and used it as an excuse. So now he's going to kind of circle back to it and say, oh, but I want to pay attention to this and not be rogue. So clever things. I mean, this horse is really intelligent, which is great, but it's also going to play against me. So like right in there, he kind of got distracted with his buddies, which isn't that big a deal, but it got really unpleasant when he blew off, you know, the first couple offerings I gave him to pay attention and stay on my agenda. He goes right back to the flag. So he wants to stop. No. But that flag now, I know I can use it too. So when I do want to stop him, if I want to add in a cue like sitting more on my pockets and pulling back on the halter, now I know I can use it. See, if I add it, he should, yeah, offer up a stop a little easier, which is hard because we're in a halter. I don't have any leverage.
Yep.
If he doesn't want to stop, he's not going to. So it's all about setting yourself up for success and kind of, you go with the horse this first ride. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. You're so smart. You're so smart, Pistol. And like through a lot of this, I like it when I'm almost that horse's #1 fan and I'm just cheering him on through all this, because then I really don't feel like I have an agenda, and I really feel like he becomes more confident a lot faster if I'm just helping him with the things that he needs in order to accomplish this. Because a lot of people try to make fights out of situations, and you're not going to win. Because even if you have a better idea, and even if you're smarter, and even if you have better leverage, that horse is in the right. I mean, he never picked the fight. And they never learn how to feel like losers until you teach them to. I'm actually really shocked at how responsive he is to this. I didn't think he would be very good at backing.
I didn't either, because the way he's been acting on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to back all the time, because if he made me upset, we did a lot of backing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I'm walking and you run over the top of me, then you're going to back up until I feel comfortable again.
Again, if the footing was a little better, I would ask him to trot and lope. He's lower energy though, so I imagine the first couple times that we do that, he might get, not explosive like taking off and bucking, but he might just get fast with his feet.
Yeah.
And if he does that, I don't want to have to haul him around to slow him down to keep him from slipping.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound like, that just doesn't sound like a situation I want to set up for. But this is, I mean, I'm really happy with this right now. When I first stepped in, I wasn't sure I was going to saddle him today. So, I'm really pleased with this much effort that he's putting forward into it. I mean, he's looking and thinking.
Well, I'm impressed.
Good deal. We'll call this good for a first try. Especially that right there, because that was, yeah, I sat back and everything, but that was a lot of, can you follow this feel? And he was like, yeah, I can stop, no problem. Which is great. He's going to be a nice horse to stop. You know, I think going might be more of your issue in the long run. So again, waller around, especially the first, you know, few times that you're riding him, you want to do a lot of this wiggling back and forth, because a lot of times people will kick that stirrup off and go to swing off like they're a broke horse, and it's just too much too fast, so you kind of build them up to it. Building a horse up does a lot of really good things. And honestly, if he wants to stand there that whole time and just let me take everything off, I'm going to let him. Because it's, you know, he was attentive that entire time. He figured everything out. I'm not going to pick any fights. And what he's doing right now is totally fine. You know, he's not standing on top of me. He's not. So I'm going to ask him for the least amount possible and just try to make it a real, you know, piece of cake after, you know, going through a lot of that. And this is really important, keeping that first ride to a minimum and not really pushing them, not getting it to the point where they get frustrated, not getting it, you know, really calling it when it's almost like it was just another day. And a lot of times people ask for too much too quickly, and I made that mistake when I was first starting horses. I just wanted more and more and more, and I never built them up to it. They were never ready for all of that. I want to keep him on a straightaway when I do things like take that saddle off and everything, because I want him to be able to see those stirrups coming and going off of his side. And honestly, I mean, he's had more of an issue switching eyes when I'm in front of him than he ever has behind him. So maybe that's something that just isn't going to be an issue. Maybe he's just going to be, you know, a total doll for all that. I mean, you never really know, but I'm telling you what I've seen and what I look for.
Yeah.
Oh, that was... Boy, I've gotten lucky the last couple days.